So took it and like, oh, okay, I'm going to leave now. Dan's waiting outside, but he wasn't. He was at the flat. And then she went, no, 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 wait. But we were meant to go to my apartment so you can see the room, and I said no. So yeah, we went out to the Bund in Shanghai, which is the main river with the amazing view line, and
contemplated.
Just panicked.
Yeah.
Like, all evening drinking really overpriced city beer.
Yeah, this woman that was trying to save us from this like sketchy agency turned out to be
more sketchy. Yeah.
Yeah, even more sketchy. Yeah, she really poisoned the whole situation.
So we decided to not go back, and then we sent a second email to TEFL, which we've got here, because it's quite
it's a couple of pages.
It's quite scathing compared to the first email, which was just like, hi Alan, yeah, we're a bit scared, blah blah blah. This one's pretty full on.
To the director of TEFL UK.
Yeah, what's that? Hello Jennifer, apologies for the late reply. Following what I've said to Alan, I'd just like to clarify what's happened to us since we've arrived and of the errors that have led to us arriving here 18 days early. To start, we were given wrong information about what was required to obtain a visa. James Zhao, the guy that works for TEFL in China, gave the impression that a full health check was needed to get a visa, along with a visa form and a passport. He informed us that the health check was not actually needed the week before we left, after complaining of delays from our doctors, and this mistake cost us around £160, as by this stage we had to pay extra for an express 48-hour visa. Then we were told of his other mistake, which resulted in us arriving in the country on the 1st of August instead of the 18th with all the other interns. We arrived at 2 in the morning and we were told we had to be at work at 10 the following day. Despite making the contact aware, we had not slept in around 36 hours by this point. Having still not slept, we were escorted to the offices of the agency the next day to begin training, which included multiple PowerPoints involving poetry, the analysation of inspiring words, and multiple acronyms, none of which had any relevance to teaching children English. We were also told by the instructor that the internship wouldn't be an internship, but would be a full-time job, because in China, internship means job.
Yeah, so basically it was the agency trying to get around the visa issue. Like, we're here for interns, like...
And we're on student visas, so we assumed we'd be learning stuff, but no, we're just getting palmed into jobs which illegally work to make someone else money.
Which puts us in a sketchy situation, because we could get done for that, and that's really scary.
That evening we were reminded that we would have to pay a £220 visa assistance fee, which we found puzzling, as James Zhao had actually cost us more money than we should have spent, and that we had got our visas ourselves. The only thing that TEFL had done was post an invitation letter from Mandarin Garden over to England. Mandarin Garden was the place where we were meant to get Chinese lessons from, which was the loophole in which they could get us in the country on student visas and get us to work full time.
So we would be studying at Mandarin Garden?
Yeah, studying at Mandarin Garden full time, but actually we had 1 lesson a week, I think.
Something ridiculous, which we didn't receive because we ran.
Yeah. We then told the agency that we wouldn't be paying the fee as James's mistakes had cost us enough time and money already, and that we were planning to email TEFL UK about the situation. We were then told by Lee, the head of the agency, don't contact TEFL or any other schools because you could get James in trouble. Leave it with me, everything will be fine. This was the guy that ran the agency, and
he seemed quite close with James.
Yeah, he grew more intimidating later, but this small thing he said quite forcefully.
Yeah, we're not allowed to like get help from England.
Yeah, like, no, don't contact them. You'll be fine. Just don't do anything. Blah, blah, blah. And then he'd sort it out with like backhanders and stuff. He also warned us not to show our internship contracts to our schools, and when we asked why, the subject was quickly changed to where we were going to eat that night. It was at this point... Huh?
Well, yeah, no, like, that doesn't really explain it. Like, we were really asking about this contract and we're going through it. We were like trying to like really get to the bottom of this contract, but they weren't having it.
The reason was with on the contract it was getting how much we were getting paid, and they didn't want the school to find out that we were getting paid nothing in comparison to what they were paying to get us in the school to work for them. It was at this point we got the impression from the agency that something dodgy was going on, and that there was that there were ulterior financial motives at play between the agency and someone from TEFL. It was after this that Oscar contacted his Shanghai employer, whom we had not met yet, to tell her what had been going on, and she said that the agency was shady and that she would not be using them for interns again.
So that's Amanda, who was the sketchy cougar that sexually harassed Oscar.
Who at this point we trusted.
Yeah, we trusted her.
It was also then that we found out how much she paid for each intern, £15,000, no, 15,000 kwai. And compared this to how low our 2,200 kwai monthly allowances, we spoke to the interns from the last 6 months who had not quit yet, and all of them had been living on savings to get by. We also realised of the illegality of using weekly Mandarin lessons as a cover to get student visas for people coming from England to work full-time who should have had legitimate work visas. There was also the issue of the repeated sexual harassment Oscar experienced on the first day of his placement, which we will be informing of you shortly. Again, I ask that you don't contact China yet, as we need to exit our agency accommodation safely and need time to find money to organise flights home. Any emails confirming the facts listed above can be sent shortly. Given the professionalism of everyone we contacted from TEFL UK before we left, we feel like we had a full sense of security only to come over and be played by a bunch of cowboys in China who represent your company. We won't be continuing the internship and would like to want some of our money back to return home or find work elsewhere. So we sent that the night before, and then the next day I didn't turn up for work, and we went into the agency so I could tell them everything that happened the day before.
Well, they came to knock for us.
Yeah, and also our phones weren't working because Chinese signal's really patchy. So we went in and were taken into a kind of dark office room where I explained what happened to me on my first day.
Which they were fine with, they completely understood that.
And then she said, "Okay, can you explain this to me then?" and pulled out her phone with the first email we had sent to TEFL.
Which was the warning.
Yeah, that was like the really kind of bright one, like, "Hi, yeah, we're not really sure, we're a bit uneasy."
But we had explicitly said in the email, don't tell these guys in China, because it could potentially put us in danger. Because these guys had control of our apartment, our future earnings, our bank accounts, our phone SIM cards. They had control over everything. And we said, don't let these guys know that we're panicking, because it could potentially put us in a dangerous situation. So they pull out the email, which was signed by me and written by me, which is a bit scary. And word for word, like, they had gotten hold of this email from TEFL, explaining our concerns.
Well, either that or James L had got into someone's TEFL system, because we sent it to someone called Alan in from TEFL England.
Who I trust.
Yeah. Because we'd been emailing this guy for 6 months prior about setting up everything for China.
So they've probably got an open email system, so he probably just worked his way through it.
So the agency then made us read out everything in the email, and we're pulling it apart and going...
Sentence by sentence.
Intimidated, what does this mean? Just kind of... I think they were trying to get us to apologise for having used dramatic language, even though everything we said in the email was true. But it's very intimidating, and the guy that runs the company, Lee, who didn't speak much English, he spoke a bit. So yeah, we had this heated discussion. Well, it wasn't heated because we were just kind of cowering and like shitting ourselves.
Yeah, well, they led us into this room, and we just thought it was over the not turning up to work because of this sexual harassment. But we came into this room, and they took us completely by surprise. So we had no time to like prepare an argument, because we thought, well, this was worst case scenario, that could happen, and we just found ourselves in there. And
we just wanted to get out of there, because we knew that the night before we had sent a second email, the one I just read, which compared to the first one was like a nuke.
Yeah, a nuke.
So we exchanged looks, and then the guy Lee from the agency, who's a big built kind of like sumo built guy, not quite sumo, but you know, like a big intimidating Chinese guy, who said England is a high-low country, China a low country. Next time you'll not make this mistake.
Yeah, you're young, you're allowed to make one mistake.
And he said other agencies would have beaten you up. And then we were told to go back immediately and to email TEFL saying that everything was fine.
Which was ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
And so we left, and as soon as we got out of earshot, we thought, fuck, we've got about an hour to move everything out of the apartment, because they're going to get hold of that second email, and they're going to either beat the shit out of us or something really, really bad's going to happen.
So they got hold of the first email. We knew it was just a matter of time before they got hold of like the one destroying their agency and the other interns that were coming on the 18th. So we knew we just lost them a heck of a load of money, and if they were angry over the first email and threatening to beat us up over the same thing, and this next
Would
email.
have been a lot worse.
Would have been a lot worse, and if he threatened us with low law country and other agencies would beat you up, they control where we live, we were really panicking. So we ran back to the apartment.
And a massive stroke of luck, the night before, Dan had contacted
my mum.
Yeah. Do you wanna?
Yeah, my mum, her mum, my gran, hi gran, has a friend in church, and her son lives in Pudong, which is like the really nice area of Shanghai, and he was willing to help us out, and my mum had gotten hold of him the night before and said, if anything really bad happens, call this guy, he'll look out for you.
And the plan before everything went wrong was to go around to this guy's house and make some English friends and have a bit of security. But then we called him and we said, by the way, we've got all our stuff. We were on the run from Chinese people that want to beat us up. And he let us stay in his amazing massive house for 3 days.
Really nice guy.
Fucking lovely. So we went from fearing for our lives on the run, bathed in sweat, to going to live in an amazing house for a couple of days while we got stuff sorted out.
It was literally Helm's Deep. It was like a fortress. We were really looked after there.
Yeah, yeah.
Really.
It was like it looked like Bel Air in America, because it was like an American compound with loads of houses, people that worked in central Shanghai.
Yeah, we were living within the compound, so we were fine. The security guards. We just felt really safe there, and we kind of like organised mission plan to escape Shanghai.
Yeah, we were going to find new jobs there, but we knew that an office of 15 people from quite a big teaching agency knew our faces, and thought it wouldn't be a good idea to put messages out looking for new jobs,
especially in Shanghai.
And also that there's a teaching district we would have been seen eventually. So so we contacted TEFL England and Skyped them, and they gave us our £1,000 back, which was amazing.
Absolutely amazing. It's worth mentioning that TEFL UK is a really professional company, and it's a shame that they got in touch with the wrong people in China.
Yeah.
So we're really happy with TEFL UK and the way they handled this whole situation.
Everything was handled really professionally, and like they were really apologetic.
Yeah, we got the directors of the company they were on holiday, and they got hold of us over Skype, even though it was out of their work hours. Really looked after us. It was really good.
And then I had contacted someone who operates in Hong Kong, who said he could get me a job.
An English guy.
Yeah, yeah. That was the main reason for moving down, because I after all this uncertainty, talking to a British person who seemed to know what they were doing, it was kind of a
massive relief.
Yeah, it was like an impulse, like we need to go to work with this guy because
he'll look out for us.
Because I felt like I could trust him. So after a couple of days we got flights down to Guangzhou, stayed in a hotel, and then got a train down to where we are now, Zhongshan, which is a city of 3 million people.
We're in Guangdong province, which is good.
We're surrounded by
amazing scenery.
Yeah, like mountains with jungles and stuff like that.
Yeah. Really nice. Hot.
Yeah, very hot.
We're sweating now because it's just really hot.
Yeah. Apart from the fact that we seem to be the only Westerners in a city of 3 million people, we quite liked it here. And I start my job on Monday. So everything seemed to pan out, I guess, hopefully.
Yeah, no, good. We've got an apartment now, which we're in right now.
Oh, it's fucking brilliant.
Amazing apartment.
In English money, it costs us each £75 a month, and we're in a 2-bed big apartment with a bar, living room, a dining room, and we're in the middle of the city, so we're 5 minutes walk from
Central,
from the main strip. So yeah, that's our China story.
Went from really sketchy beginnings in Shanghai. Then we went to Richard Parsons, thank you again.
Yeah, cheers Rich.
His daughters took us out, and that was really fun. Yeah, we saw the nice side of Shanghai. We left the next day on a plane, which had a little complication.
Also, the tickets I bought down, I bought tickets to Guangzhou instead of Guangzhou. So I cost myself about £250 for my cock-up. So yeah, we bought new tickets, and we're safe now. But it just seems like we've taken lots of massive risks, and so far everything seems to have panned out. When it could have all gone horribly wrong. So you'll find out, and I'll make another video in a couple of weeks to tell you how we're getting on here.
Yeah. Look at that.
Come on, come on.